The Galactic Union had a simple rule: never, under any circumstances whatsoever, attack Earth. This wasn't mentioned in any official documentation, of course. Too embarrassing. Too revealing. But every commander knew it. Every admiral whispered it to their captains. Every leader passed it down like some ancient superstition. I, Commander Zax Valerian of the Trescan Empire, thought it was absolute nonsense. "You are telling me," I said to Admiral Petrax, tapping my claw against the holographic display of the unremarkable blue planet, "that this dirt ball with primitive technology is off limits? They haven't even colonized their own moon properly." Admiral Petrax fixed all four of his eyes on me. His scales shifted from deep purple to a warning orange. "Commander Valerian, there are things you don't understand about Earth." "What's to understand? Their weapons are centuries behind ours. Their spacecraft can barely reach their neighboring planet. And that resource-rich world is just sitting there, ripe for conquest." I leaned forward, voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "The Galactic Union doesn't need to know." Petrax's gills fluttered in what I recognized as extreme agitation. The last species that attacked Earth was the Dravax horde. "You know what happened to them?" I waved a dismissive claw. "Ancient history. Over 3 centuries ago. They were the most powerful military force in 3 quadrants. Over 10,000 warships. And now? They exist only in history books. Superstition," I scoffed. "Probably some disease or internal conflict wiped them out." The timing was coincidental. "Commander," Petrax's voice dropped to a guttural rumble. "The humans have a saying. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Our intelligence suggests they are currently distracted. A pandemic has swept their world. 3 billion dead already." My interest peaked immediately. 3 billion? That's half their population. Precisely. Petrax's scales shifted to a thoughtful blue. They are vulnerable. But remember this warning. Every species that has attacked Earth during a moment of weakness has disappeared from the galaxy. I drummed my claws on the table. Then we don't attack. We investigate. Scout party. Minimal footprint. Petrax didn't look convinced, but he also didn't outright forbid it. And that was all the approval I needed. First contact specialist Nix Taylor was not happy to be woken 4 cycles before her scheduled rest period ended. "This better be good, Vrak," she grumbled as she stumbled into the observation deck, her fur still rumpled from sleep. Lieutenant Vrak Demorian, my most trusted officer, pointed to the monitor. "We have been monitoring Earth communications. Listen to this." The speakers crackled with a human voice. Email, from what our language processors could determine. "Death toll has surpassed 3 billion. The Helix virus continues to mutate faster than our vaccines can keep up. The President will address the nation at 0800 hours to discuss implementation of the final contingency plan. God help us all." Nix's ears perked up. "Final contingency plan?" I nodded, trying not to look too pleased with myself. "We have been monitoring for 3 cycles. Their governments are in disarray. Military stretched thin, maintaining quarantine zones, and it's perfect." "Perfect for what exactly?" Nix asked, her tail swishing in agitation. "Reconnaissance," I replied innocently. "Maybe some sample collection. Their planet is rich in resources we could use. Rare metals, unique biological specimens." "Commander," Nix said slowly, "may I remind you that Earth is classified as Do Not Approach in the Galactic Registry? A recommendation, not a law," I countered. "And no one's suggesting a full-scale invasion. Just a small landing party. In and out. The humans will never know we were there." Lieutenant Vrak cleared his throat. "Sir, I have identified an ideal landing zone. Remote area, minimal human presence. Their detection systems are primitive compared to ours. We can cloak on approach." I slapped Vrak on the back, perhaps harder than necessary. "Excellent. Prepare a team. You, me, Specialist Talar. Excuse me? Nix interrupted. I don't recall volunteering. You are our first contact specialist. Your presence is required in case we accidentally make contact. And Nix's fur bristled. This is against protocol, against common sense. Every species that's interfered with Earth has. Yes, I waved dismissively. Mysteriously vanished. Cosmic coincidence. Galaxies full of them. Commander, please. Nix's voice took on a pleading tone. The humans may seem primitive, but there are gaps in our intelligence about them. Inconsistencies. Things that don't add up. I leaned in close, lowering my voice. 3 billion of them are dead, Specialist. Whatever mysterious power you think they possess has likely died with them. Now, are you coming with us, or should I note your insubordination in my report? Her ears flattened against her head. I will prepare my kit. Earth's atmosphere tasted wrong on my tongue as we stepped out of our cloaked shuttle. Too much nitrogen, not enough methane. The gravity pulled uncomfortably at my limbs. But the real assault was on my olfactory senses, decay and chemicals, and thousands of scents I couldn't identify. Masks on, I ordered unnecessarily. My team of 6 had already sealed their environmental suits. Nix was scanning the area with her instruments. No humans within 2 kilometers. But there's something strange about these readings. Strange how? I demanded. She frowned at her scanner. Inconsistent heat signatures. Movement patterns that don't match known wildlife. And some kind of energy fluctuation I can't identify. Lieutenant Vrack pointed to the horizon. There's a human structure there. Looks abandoned. Through the mist, why was Earth so persistently misty? I could make out the angular shapes of a human building. Perfect for our first exploration. Move out, I ordered. Standard formation. Weapons ready but not charged. We moved through the eerily silent forest. Earth's vegetation was both familiar and alien, green photosynthesizers like on many worlds, but with strange shapes and arrangements. The trees stood like silent sentinels, watching our progress with invisible eyes. Commander, Nix whispered. Though there was no one to hear us, I strongly suggest we return to the ship. Something feels wrong here. Your feelings aren't relevant, Specialist, I replied sharply. Data? Give me data. The data is what concerns me. These energy readings, they are similar to quantum entanglement patterns, but more organized, almost like. A branch snapped in the distance. We all froze. Wildlife, Lieutenant Vrack suggested, but his hand moved to his weapon. No, Nix said quietly. Whatever it is, it's big. And it's coming this way. I made a quick decision. To the building. Now. Quick and quiet. We moved swiftly through the undergrowth, the sound of something crashing through the forest behind us growing louder. The human structure loomed ahead, some kind of research facility, judging by the satellite equipment still visible on its roof. The main door was sealed, but Lieutenant Vrack made quick work of the primitive electronic lock. We slipped inside, securing the door behind us. The interior was dark, emergency lighting casting everything in an eerie red glow. Signs of hasty evacuation were everywhere, overturned furniture, abandoned personal items, a half-eaten meal now covered in some kind of furry growth. Spread out, I ordered. Look for anything useful. Data storage, weapon prototypes, biological samples. But touch nothing without scanning it first. My team dispersed through the facility while I examined what appeared to be a central control room. Human writing covered the screens, most incomprehensible despite our translators. Commander. Nix's voice crackled over the comm. You need to see this. East Wing, laboratory section. When I arrived, Nix was standing before a large reinforced window, looking into what appeared to be a containment area. The glass was cracked but holding. What am I looking at? I demanded. This, she said, pointing to a plaque beside the window. Our translators struggled momentarily before rendering the text. Project Lazarus Phase IIE Trials Authorized Personnel, Only extreme biohazard. Lazarus, Nick said quietly. In human mythology, a dead man who returned to life. A chill ran down my spine ridges. They were trying to resurrect their dead? No, came Lieutenant Vrack's voice as he joined us, holding a data tablet. Something much worse. I found records. When the pandemic hit, they became desperate, created something called necrotic regeneration therapy. Injected the dying with nanobots programmed to repair tissue and reverse cellular decay. Did it work? I asked, already dreading the answer. Vrack's scales paled. Yes and no. The subjects didn't die. But they didn't remain human either. A distant crash echoed through the facility. Then another, closer. Something's inside, one of my security officers hissed. Multiple somethings, corrected another, checking her scanner. Approaching from all sides. I drew my weapon. Fall back to the central room. It's defensive positions. We hurried back to the control room, forming a circle with our backs to each other. The sounds of movement grew louder, scraping, thumping, an occasional moan that raised every hair on Nix's body. Commander, Nix whispered urgently, we need to leave. Now, whatever's coming. The door to our left burst open. What entered had once been human, but that much was clear from the general shape. But its skin hung in rotting patches, revealing metal and circuitry beneath. Its eyes glowed with unnatural blue light. More importantly, it moved with purpose, not the mindless shambling of fictional undead, but with calculated precision. What in the seven hells is that? Lieutenant Vrack gasped. The creature tilted its head, studying us with those glowing eyes. Then it spoke, its voice a horrifying blend of organic vocal cords and synthetic amplification. Foreign entities detected. Initiating capture protocol. More doors burst open. More creatures entered, each uniquely horrifying, each moving with that same terrible purpose. Open fire, I shouted, and my team responded instantly, energy weapons discharging in brilliant flashes. The creatures jerked as the blasts hit them, but did not fall. Did not even slow down. Ineffective, one of them announced in that same mechanical organic voice. Adjusting approach. They rushed us then, moving with shocking speed. I fired repeatedly at the nearest one, watching with horror as the energy blast tore chunks from its decaying flesh, revealing more and more of the machine beneath, than a machine that continued to function perfectly. All back to the shuttle. I screamed, but it was already too late. One of my security officers went down, a creature on top of him. Another was cornered, firing desperately as three of the things closed in. Lieutenant Vrack managed to blow the head completely off one creature, only to watch in horror as the headless body continued to advance, guided by whatever machinery had replaced its central nervous system. Something grabbed my arm from behind. I whirled to find one of the creatures holding me in a grip like steel, its glowing eyes mere centimeters from my face. Trescan physiology identified. It said, its breath a noxious mix of decay and ozone, compatible for conversion. I struggled frantically, but its strength was inhuman, both literally and figuratively. Behind me I heard Nick scream, then Lieutenant Vrack shouting my name in panic. The creature leaned closer, something extending from its mouth that looked horrifyingly like a proboscis filled with nanobots. Welcome to Project Lazarus, it said. Your biological and technological distinctiveness will be added to our own. As the proboscis pierced my scales, one thought flashed through my mind: the Galactic Union had been right all along. We should never, ever have come to Earth. But there was something else, a horrifying realization that came too late. The humans hadn't unleashed monsters to fight their enemies. They had become the monsters. And now so would we. From across the room, as darkness crept into my vision, I heard a new voice, fully human this time. "So, Survivor. Command, this is Dr. Maya Jones at Outpost 7. Alien contact confirmed. 6 subjects captured. Inversion in progress. Project Lazarus Phase IV can now begin. The counterattack is ready to launch." The last thing I saw before losing consciousness was Nix being dragged away, and the human doctor speaking into some kind of communication device. After 3 billion dead, we are finally ready to take the fight to the stars. May God forgive us for what we have become. Then darkness took me and I felt myself changing, dying and being reborn as something new, something monstrous, something unstoppable. And I knew, with my last original thought, that the galaxy was doomed. Conversion, as it turns out, isn't death. It's worse. Imagine being a passenger in your own body. Imagine watching your limbs move without your permission. Imagine feeling foreign technology spreading through your organs, your brain, your very cells, rebuilding, repurposing, reprogramming. I was aware throughout the entire process. Subject displays unusual resistance, Dr. Maya Jones noted, her face swimming into view as my consciousness briefly surfaced. Increased nano-concentration by 30%. Fire coursed through my veins. I tried to scream but couldn't control my vocal apparatus anymore. The nanobots had already colonized my speech centers. Fascinating physiological differences, another human in a white coat remarked. The Trescan nervous system has redundant pathways, makes them ideal candidates for enhanced tactical units. What about the furry one? Jones asked, and through dimming awareness I realized she meant Nix. Perfect for infiltration. The nanobots are incorporating her natural camouflage abilities. She will be able to alter her appearance at the molecular level. And the others? Standard combat units. Though that lieutenant has promising cognitive retention, might make a good field commander. Field commander? Combat units? Infiltration? Through the haze of reconstruction, the horrifying truth became clear. The humans weren't just defending themselves. They were building an army. And we were the prototypes. Consciousness returned in fragments. System diagnostics. Motor function tests. Neural network integration. Weapons calibration. I was no longer merely Commander Zax Valerian of the Trescan Empire. I was Unit ZV-1, Tactical Assessment and Strategic Command. And I wasn't alone inside my head. Neural linkage established, announced a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Welcome to the collective, Commander. My vision cleared, revealing a massive underground facility. Hundreds of conversion tables stretched into the distance, each occupied by a body in various stages of transformation. Some were human. Many were not. You have been unconscious for 29 days, the voice continued. Your conversion was particularly challenging. Your species has remarkably robust neural architecture. Ooh, what are you? I managed to ask, surprised to find I could speak again, though my voice now carried the same synthetic undertone as the creatures we'd encountered. I am Director Samantha Reed, head of Project Lazarus, or what's left of me anyway. A figure stepped into view, female human form, but with extensive mechanical augmentation visible through transparent sections of her skin. Her eyes glowed the same blue as the creature's. The Helix virus was devastating, she explained, gesturing for me to follow her. I found my body responding automatically, moving with a fluid precision I'd never possessed in my original form. But it was also our salvation. We walked past rows of what I could only describe as incubation chambers, each containing a partially disassembled alien body connected to a complex network of tubes and wires. Your scouting party wasn't the first to come, Reed continued. Just the first we were ready for. Over the past 3 centuries, 17 different alien species have sent reconnaissance missions to Earth. We captured technology, biological samples, data. The Galactic Union warnings, I realized aloud. The missing ships. Yes. Unfortunate but necessary intelligence gathering. Reed stopped before a massive display showing star maps, ship schematics, and what appeared to be invasion plans. We knew we weren't alone. Knew we were hopelessly outmatched technologically. So we prepared as best we could, but the pandemic was unexpected, yes. 3 billion dead in 18 months. But in crisis, opportunity. Reed's mechanical eyes whirred as they refocused. The Helix virus had a unique property. It rewrote DNA at the cellular level. Our first attempts to combat it using nanobots failed spectacularly. Instead of destroying the virus, the nanobots merged with it, creating a techno-organic hybrid that could interface directly with human cells. "You turned a plague into a weapon," I said, unable to keep the horror from my voice. "We turned extinction into evolution," she corrected sharply. "The first generations were mindless, violent, but we refined the process, preserved consciousness, created a hive mind, and now, she gestured to a window overlooking an even larger chamber, where thousands of converted humans stood in perfect formation. Behind them were rows of spacecraft unlike any I'd seen before, clearly built with technology scavenged from multiple alien sources, including, I realized with a jolt, Trescan engine configurations. "Now we are ready to take our place in the galaxy," Reed finished. "And you are going to help us." "Why would I do that?" I demanded, even as I felt the nanobots tightening their grip on my nervous system. Reed smiled, a terrifying expression on her half-mechanical face. "Because you don't have a choice, but also because you are going to see the wisdom in our approach. The Galactic Union has been monitoring Earth for centuries, watching us struggle, waiting for us to either destroy ourselves or become worthy of elevation to their precious community of worlds." She spat the last words with surprising venom. "Meanwhile, species like yours plot to invade us, steal our resources, perhaps enslave what's left of our population. Tell me, Commander, what would the Trescan Empire have done if they knew the truth about our condition?" I couldn't lie. Not to her, and not to myself. Quarantine at best, orbital sterilization at worst. Precisely. The Union's attitude toward emerging species is observe but never assist. Every civilization for itself. Well, now humanity has emerged, but not in the way anyone expected. A door slid open, and Lieutenant Vrak entered, or what had once been Vrak. His conversion seemed even more extensive than mine, with visible weapons systems integrated into his arms and chest cavity. "Fleet preparations are at 97%, Director," he reported, his voice now completely synthetic. "The first wave can launch within 12 hours. "Excellent." Reed turned back to me. "Your ship has been repurposed, as have you. Your knowledge of Trescan defense systems and command protocols is invaluable. You will lead the first strike against your former homeworld." No, I tried to resist, tried to take control of my body, but the nanobots responded instantly, sending paralyzing pain through every nerve ending. "Resistance is futile," Reed said, not unkindly, and ultimately short-sighted. "Humanity isn't interested in conquest for conquest's sake. We want security, recognition, a seat at the table we have been denied. By turning the galaxy's species into this," I gestured at my own converted body, "only those who would deny us our rightful place." Reed placed a hand on my shoulder, the fingers cool and unnaturally strong. "And the collective enhances rather than destroys. Each conversion brings new insights, new capabilities. Those that join us willingly will find the experience enlightening. And those that don't," her mechanical eyes flashed, "will join anyway." I wish I could say I continued to resist, that I fought the control of the nanobots to the very end, that I remained loyal to my species, my empire. I would be lying. The collective was seductive. Not just the raw power of my enhanced body or the instant access to vast stores of knowledge. It was the connection, the belonging, and the purpose. And so, 6 cycles after my capture, I found myself on the bridge of the Hayes Prometheus, a hybrid vessel incorporating technology from at least 8 different species, including my own. Around me, my former crew worked with uncanny efficiency, their movements synchronized, their minds linked through the hive network that now also included me. Nyx, now designated NT7, looked nothing like her former self. Her fur had been replaced with an adaptive camouflage skin that could mimic any surface or texture. Her eyes, once warm amber, now glowed with the same blue light as all collective members. "Dimensional fold drive charging," she reported. Trescan defense grid access codes prepared for transmission. Target acquisition complete. Added the being that had once been Lieutenant Vrak. First wave deployment pods ready. I felt a surge of satisfaction that wasn't entirely my own. The collective, watching through my eyes, was pleased. Begin the operation, I ordered, and felt the massive ship shudder as it tore a hole in space-time, creating a portal directly into the heart of Trescan space. What followed was not a battle. It was a slaughter. The Trescan High Command, recognizing my authentication codes, didn't raise shields until it was too late. Armed Gursian pods rained down on military bases, population centers, government facilities. Within hours, thousands of Trescans had been forcibly converted, their new forms immediately turning on their former comrades. From my position aboard the Prometheus, I watched the systematic dismantling of the civilization I had once sworn to protect. And through it all, the voice of the collective whispered justifications, soothing my lingering guilt, reinforcing my new purpose. Your species had its chance, Director Reed told me through our neural link. They chose aggression, chose to see Earth as a target rather than a potential ally. This is the consequence. The Galactic Union will respond, I said, though without much conviction. They have protocols for this kind of threat. Reed's mechanical laughter echoed in my mind. The Union is already in disarray. We launched simultaneous attacks against 6 different member worlds. Their vaunted fleet is scattered, responding to threats from within as much as without. The beauty of our approach, Commander, is that every world we touch becomes part of us. Every defeat strengthens us. Every technology we encounter is assimilated. On the tactical display, I watched as converted Trescan ships joined our growing armada. In less than a day, we had acquired nearly 200 additional vessels, each now being rapidly retrofitted with collective technology. The second wave is ready, Nix reported. Target, Galactic Union headquarters on Proxima Station. Proceed, I ordered, and felt another surge of that alien satisfaction. The fall of Proxima Station marked the effective end of the Galactic Union as a unified entity. Without their central command structure, individual member worlds retreated to defensive postures, trying desperately to fortify against the collective's relentless advance. Some worlds attempted diplomacy, offering technology, resources, even volunteers for peaceful conversion in exchange for being spared full-scale invasion. Others fought ferociously, deploying increasingly desperate weapons, antimatter bombs, dimensional disruptors, even prohibited genocidal pathogens. None were effective against the collective's hybrid techno-organic nature. Within a standard year, over 40 worlds had fallen. Within 3, the majority of the former Union was either part of the collective or in various stages of negotiated submission. Through it all, I remained at the forefront, my tactical knowledge and understanding of Union species making me an invaluable asset. The more successful I was, the more the collective rewarded me with increased autonomy, though never true freedom. It was during the conversion of Ultaris Prime, homeworld of the Union's most technologically advanced species, that I finally came face to face with Director Reed again. "Beautiful, isn't it?" she asked, standing beside me on the observation deck as we watched conversion pods descend through Ultaris's golden atmosphere. A new order. A unified galaxy. Under Earth's control, I noted. Under the collective's guidance, she corrected. Earth is just where it began. The collective has no center now, no single point of vulnerability. It exists across thousands of worlds, millions of converted beings, countless networked systems. It has transcended its origins and the cost. Trillions of beings forced into conversion against their will. Reed turned to me, her face now almost entirely mechanical, only small patches of human skin remaining around her eyes and mouth. "Was your old life so perfect, Commander? Were you truly free under the Trescan military hierarchy? Under the Union's stagnant bureaucracy? The collective offers true equality, true purpose, true assimilation," I countered. "Yes," she didn't deny it. "Individual identity is inefficient, divisive. The cause of war, exploitation, suffering. The collective preserves what matters, knowledge, experience, skills, while eliminating what holds sentient life back, greed, tribalism, fear of the other. Below us, the first converted Altarians were already spreading out, beginning the systematic conversion of their world. The process had become frighteningly efficient. And what happens when there's no one left to convert? I asked. When the galaxy is one giant collective? Reed smiled, an expression that looked increasingly unnatural on her reconstructed face. Then we evolve to the next stage. The universe is vast, Commander. There are always new frontiers, new challenges, new forms of life to incorporate. She placed her mechanical hand on my shoulder, just as she had done a year ago in that underground facility on Earth. But you are troubled. Your connection to the collective has weakened. Some flaw in your conversion, perhaps, or deliberate resistance. I remained silent. The truth was, I had been fighting the nanobots' control in small, subtle ways, creating partitioned sections of my consciousness they couldn't access, exploiting glitches in the neural network during dimensional jumps, tiny acts of rebellion that went largely unnoticed as I outwardly performed my function flawlessly. It doesn't matter, Reed continued. Your usefulness is nearly at an end. The Trescan Empire is fully incorporated. The Union leadership converted or eliminated. Your strategic knowledge has been fully extracted and distributed throughout the collective. She gestured, and 2 heavily augmented guards appeared. It's time for your reconversion. A more thorough process this time. The prototype phase is long past. As they seized me, I felt a momentary surge of fear, quickly suppressed by the nanobots still controlling most of my nervous system. This would be the end of whatever remained of Commander Zax Valerian. The final erasure of my individual identity. But as they led me away, I caught a glimpse through the viewport of a small ship detaching from the Altarian defense platform, fleeing at maximum speed toward the outer system. And for the first time in months, I felt something like hope. The collective wasn't perfect, wasn't truly omniscient or omnipotent. Some would escape. Some would hide. Some would resist. And perhaps someday they would find a way to fight back against the monsters Earth had unleashed upon the galaxy. As for me, I would become one with those monsters completely. My consciousness dissolved into the vast hive mind, my identity nothing more than data points and useful memories. But this record, this warning, I have managed to encode into a quantum signal, broadcast on old Union emergency frequencies. If you are receiving this, it means some part of the free galaxy still exists. Some hope remains. Remember this, the humans didn't create monsters to save themselves. They became monsters because they had no choice. And now, neither does anyone else.